Everyone wants the flashy fix. Fast workouts, wild diets, and quick hacks. Over the years, I have tried all of them, and I was stuck at just around 280 pounds. Nothing really worked until I got boring, and I mean it is kind of boring. It's just 4 things, there's no magic, but they actually do work. I've almost lost 100 pounds this way, and now I teach it to others, and they get the same results. No trends, no crazy long cardio sessions, and no gimmicks. This is just the truth. It's boring by design. If you want a flashy, quick technique, you can click out right now. But if you want fat loss that sticks, that actually makes a difference in your life and never lets you feel this way again, stick around because I'm going to show you everything. Okay, so first let's look at this example dinner plate. This is just an illustration to show you about this point. So if you have ever logged your food before, you will know that typically the serving of something, let's say it's some type of pasta that is super creamy or something like that, it's awfully disappointing. We could take a bowl of ice cream. That is going to be the serving size of ice cream. If you look at a little bit of peanut butter, I'm not kidding, that is like the size of serving of peanut butter. So the point of this is that we can have a great deal more food if we fill our plates with the right things. If this is protein, such as chicken or pork chops, something like that, these are potatoes, and these are veggies, which you could have a lot more veggies than that. I mean, it could literally be overflowing this plate. You would still need a side of fruit, which, this is like the complete meal. Now, I'm not saying your meals have to look this boring. That's not the point of this. What I'm saying is the amount of food, the boring thing that we're doing here is eating high protein and eating things that are higher in fiber and take up more room on the plate. You physically can eat more. I put up a post not too long ago on YouTube showing my end of night snack, I guess. I was just craving something and I still had calories left. I had 300 something calories left. And I think I had a bowl, 250, I could be wrong. It could have been up to 400 calories of fruit. You know what? Let me show you. I always forget that I don't film on my phone anymore. And so I can show you things on my phone. Okay, so going through it was 250 calories. That is my YouTube post. Look at the size of that bowl of fruit. I'm not kidding, that was 250 calories. Now apply that to this. This entire thing here, because it's whole foods and it's clean, is going to be somewhere around 500-ish calories, maybe not even. And that is the key here. I know it's boring, and I'm going to talk about how you can make your meals more interesting than this in just a second, but it really does work because you eat so much food. Now, if you're concerned about actual boring food, I promise that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you have to eat, chicken, broccoli, and rice and separate, things. I have a protein cookbook. It's totally free. Link in the description and in the comments. I'll show it here on screen. But those recipes give the same principle, whole foods that take up a lot of space. So you can take these, combine them, maybe not chicken and potatoes and stuff, but you can take these single ingredients, combine them in a certain way that makes something delicious, such as a lasagna or a Mexican lasagna or something like that. And it is very filling, takes up just as much space, but it's much more interesting. So don't worry, I got you. Link in the comments, it's totally free. So here's the system behind the calories and protein point that we're talking about here. Log your food daily, at least at first. Log every single calorie. I shouldn't say literally every calorie. If something's like 5 calories or 10 calories, I don't have my clients log it. I don't really care about that stuff. That's not going to make a big difference. But vegetables, fruit, even if it's very healthy, make sure to log it because they really do add up. And I want to encourage you that at first, it feels like food logging can take forever and then it's just really difficult and you don't know how to log things. It gets so much easier. I promise you. Please stick with it. It's going to change your life. And then we want to eat 1 gram per pound of body weight. So that's of your goal body weight. If your goal is to be 200 pounds, then try to eat 200 grams of protein. That's going to, again, be just like the food logging, something that might feel very hard to achieve at first. Don't worry. It gets so much easier, especially if you're eating from my cookbook and you learn to just, cook a little bit more high protein. So real quick, I'm going to just give you a fast list of high protein foods. This is going to be, any meat, but you want it to be a lean cut of meat, such as chicken breast, pork chops instead of pork steaks, top round sirloin, and extremely lean ground beef, such as 95% or higher if you can find it. And then 93% or higher ground turkey is usually what I get. Of course, there's your lean fish. There is shrimp and canned tuna, really low-fat dairy or fat-free dairy. All those things are going to qualify as very high, good quality protein sources. And on this note, I have another free resource for you, this craving survival map that goes through what things you might be feeling instead of actual hunger to help you fight through that craving. And then it has that checklist that you probably saw there, that if you complete that checklist, you're allowed to have the craving. You just have to complete the checklist first. And at the end, in theory, you won't have that craving anymore. So it keeps you on your diet. Very important. Again, free in the comments and the description. So most people stop here and they end up stalling. They just stop at the diet part. But the next thing, it silently burns more fat, way more fat than your workouts. So I'm going to ask FitBuddy, which is just a ChatGPT thing that I wrote. I can't lose weight and my diet has been on point and I am hitting all my workouts. Any ideas? Let's see what it says. I like how it says this up here. I never told it to do things like this, but I hear you loud and clear. And first off, I want to say you are not alone. So many people get stuck in this exact spot. So if this is you, it's true. So it asks some questions here, but I bet it's going to tell me right here, how many steps per day are you averaging? If I went through those questions that it just posed to me and I said, hey, I'm doing this, I'm on my diet, I'm working out this many days per week, and it could find some other holes. But the main thing here is that if you're working out and dieting, but you're not moving a whole bunch, you are going to get stalled because your basal metabolic rate or your metabolism or how much you're just burning is just not adding up to something that allows you to lose weight. So you either have to lower your calories even more and start eating like a bird, which is just not sustainable and not fun for anybody, or you need to increase your energy expenditure. So here's what I would do. If you're a watcher of this channel, you know I promote this Neskla 3D pedometer. I'm not like sponsored or anything. They're like 20 bucks or 15 bucks or something like that. But this thing is the best. It is so accurate. You can just use your phone. Just make sure it's in your pocket. And especially the new phones, I find they're pretty crazy accurate. But that Neskla 3D pedometer is the way to go in my opinion. Go a week and just move naturally with your steps. Try not to forget your pedometer, and whatever comes up, comes up. The lower this number, I don't want you to feel shame. I want you to feel excitement. The lower that number. Don't intentionally try to make it low. But if you only walk 3,000 steps a day, you have a huge opportunity because you saw there, I'm walking 16,000 steps and the day's not even done. It's 4:11 p.m. right now. So I'm going to end up hitting 17, 18,000 steps. It's because I'm extremely active. I'm a personal trainer. It's what I do. So you don't have to get that many steps. But if you're only at like 3,000 steps, imagine working that up slowly with time to 8,000 or 10,000 steps. You're going to burn fat without making any other changes. So at first I would just add 1,000 to whatever your base level is. If you get on average about 4,000 steps, try for 5,000 and keep on increasing that until you get maxed out on what your steps will be. And you might think, well, I'm maxed out at what my steps are. If I get 4,000 steps a day, I'm maxed out. When you start to apply yourself to this, you will find opportunities to walk a little bit further, whether it's pacing on the phone every time you're on the phone, whether it's parking in the back of the parking lot. And I know these things are kind of cliche and boring. That's the topic of this video, but it really, guys, it works. Add a weight vest for challenging yourself even further. Weight vests seem to be pretty comfortable, but a lot of people, sometimes they feel constricted by the vest. So you might be open to a backpack that you actually put some weight into. The rucking backpacks actually are worth it in my opinion. Maybe not the mainstream ones to a person who's not like super into this, but there's rucking backpacks on Amazon that are really, really good. Just because they have the extra padding and the really wide strap so it doesn't kind of cut into your shoulder. But you just add some weight to that. It could at first just be, a bunch of water bottles, and then they have special rucking plates that go in those. But the point is that you're adding weight to yourself until you're burning even more calories during those walks, during those intentional walks. Your goal here and how you apply this to your program though, is to find a non-negotiable level of steps. For me, that's 14,000. Lately, I've been reaching it so easy. I don't know if I need to increase it or just stop tracking my steps and stop caring so much, because I really don't want to intentionally walk 16,000 steps a day. But find wherever your thing is and you meet that every single day. Now, I want to give you some encouragement about these steps because you might be like, dude, I don't want to, increase my steps. For me to maintain my body weight, and right now I am cutting. I'm still cutting. If you follow this channel, you know that I'm cutting body fat and I'm getting there. But for me to maintain my body weight, I'm pretty sure I need to be around 3,400 calories per day. And if you're like, dude, screw you, it's because I have decent muscle mass. I mean, I'm not small. And I walk a lot. I just take a lot of steps. Now, you might not even want to eat 3,000, sure is expensive. You might not want to eat 3,400 calories, but the point is that you can increase your calorie expenditure. So me, I can cut on 2,900 calories. I can lose a pound a week on 2,900 calories. I'm losing a little more than a pound a week at 2,750 calories every single day. Now, I'm really strict on that because I did the food logging thing and I eat high protein and all that stuff. I make sure to hit that every day. But it's consistent and I don't feel miserable at all because I'm eating more than the average person would on, their regular diet, not even cutting any body fat. And another thing that's kind of cool is that like, if I have to, for whatever reason, let's say there's a, party or something like that. And the only thing that's there is fried chicken. I have the room in my diet to eat the fried chicken. I have ruined my diet to eat a couple slices of pizza because I have so many calories that I need to burn in order to maintain my body weight. That if that day is a break-even day, it's okay. I can go all the way up to probably 3,600 calories or so, and I'm not going to gain any fat. So you knew workouts was going to probably be discussed in this video. What if you didn't have to work your butt off in the gym? You just had a normal program and it was relatively easy to maintain and easy to do, but you scorched body fat. That's what I'm about to show you. Okay, so what I'm going to draw out here is your plan. You can literally steal this. This isn't going to be a line for line plan that I'm about to draw out for you. I'm going to tell you how you can get that line for line plan. And it's super easy. Okay, so first you're going to lift 2 to 3 times per week. And this is the line for line plan, like sets, reps, everything. If you use FitBuddy, the thing I was just showing you, it's free in the description. If you use that and you give it some information, you just say, hey, can you write me a program? It will give you exactly your equipment, your situation. If your shoulders hurt, whatever, it will help you write an awesome program. So that's totally free. So that's where that exact program is going to come from. But I want you to do 2 to 3 times per week. And then you're going to do cardio 3 to 4 times per week. This is going to be either for 20 or 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, anywhere in there. And then we're gonna have the secret here. I'm gonna write these out and I'll explain what this means. Okay, so this is the secret that involves not working super hard, not killing yourself in the gym, but allowing you to burn tons of fat, because with time, you end up scorching fat. Let me show you what I mean. So if you're doing cardio 3 to 4 times a week, that is like your baseline. You can always increase in days. As you get more fit, let's say at first you can only do 3 days or even 2 days or whatever, fill in the blank, doesn't matter. Let's say at first you can only do 3 days per week. You are going to be fit enough relatively soon that you could add in a 4th day. And now, without doing too much more, you are getting a ton of extra burn. That is 25% of your entire, cardio for that week. So that really adds up. But you can also add more time. So if at first you can only do 20 minutes, adding 5 minutes to each of those 4 days is an entire other cardio session. But here is where it really unlocks the intensity piece. So I'm going to show you this on like a treadmill example on this whiteboard. So what we're going to do, let's say, I'm just going to give you a hypothetical. Let's say that you start at 2.7 miles per hour and 3% incline. You do this for 3 days at 20 minutes. As you get more fit, you can increase this to 4 days. You could increase this to 25 minutes. You could increase this incline, because let's say 3% was killing you before and now it's pretty easy. So now you can increase that incline to 4%, all the way up to 15% eventually. And this will eventually increase to 3 miles per hour. So now in not much more time per week, you are doing 4 days of 25 minutes at fill in the blank on the incline. Let's say it's 7% incline at 3 miles an hour. You were scorching calories compared to what you were doing before. So if a person, I've heard this so many times where they're like, oh, well, your body adapts to cardio and now you're not able to burn as many calories. And sure, at the same intensity, you're not able to burn as many calories. If you walk at 2.7 miles an hour and 1% incline 2 days a week for 20 minutes, and that's all you ever do, yes, that exact scenario will burn less calories. But as you get more fit, you'll be able to do 3%. And now in the same amount of time, you're burning more calories because of how hard you're working. This is the unlock. This is the big thing. And again, if you look at this and you're like, wait, walking on a treadmill, and I'm going to talk to you about walking outside in a second, but walking on a treadmill, that's why this is boring. If you follow this just normal routine, you are going to get the best results of your life with your fat loss. So real quick, I wanted to apply this because some of my clients are like, dude, I refuse to do indoor cardio. It's just so boring. And I get that. So instead of the incline, you would just scratch this out and you would apply all of this with rucking. So a rucking backpack, like I was talking about a little bit earlier, you would do like 10 pounds in the rucking backpack, and then eventually you could go all the way up to like 50 pounds. Now you are going to be losing weight, so that's going to be, counteracting it, but this is something that you could end up doing more than that too. You just have to build into it. Make sure it's not hurting your knees, your feet, your back, anything like that. So just give it some time to adapt. Even with great workouts, you can hit a wall. Here's how to fix it fast. We're going to talk about adjustments. This is perhaps the most important part of the video because you are going to hit a spot where you're not able to continue with your rate of fat loss or maybe any fat loss. All of us have probably hit that. I bet you know what I'm talking about, where you're like, dude, I'm doing all the things I was doing before and I can't lose any more weight. And this is how we're going to adjust for that. Think of your fat loss like tuning a guitar. I play the ukulele just for fun. I'm not any good at it or anything. And sometimes I strum it and I'm just like, something feels off. I don't just throw the ukulele out, or we don't throw the guitar out. We tune it and then you're like, there we go. That's what we needed. And so we need to fine tune our process. We don't just throw out the entire thing. That's ridiculous when you think about an instrument. Why would we do that with our plan? So here's what we're gonna do. If the scale is dropping, stay the course. Even if it has slowed down, you're doing good, okay? Please be a little bit more patient with the process. Now you can make some of these tweaks I'm about to talk about if it's gotten really slow. You also might just need a diet break. So, just make sure you can leave a comment in the comments down below. If you're like, Aaron, do you think I need a diet break? And I'll kind of talk you through it in the comments back and forth. But typically, you're gonna want a diet break roughly every 3 to 4 months, and you're gonna want a diet break for about a month. I always put that month-long diet break in December, and then, for me, and then work every 3 to 4 months after that. So if you're stuck, what you're gonna do, if the scale is dropping, you stick with it. If you're stuck though, and it just kind of feels flat, first, make sure you're actually sticking with your plan. If you're not, again, you might need a diet break, but if 20% of the time you're off plan, maybe it's every single weekend or something like that, that's gonna be your answer right there. But assuming you're on plan and you just feel like you're stuck, drop your calories by 100 calories per day. That's it, maybe 150. And I know what you're thinking, that is not enough. And you're right, that's not enough. We're gonna make some other tweaks. You don't have to eat like a bird, you're just taking a little bit from the calories. So 100 to 150 calories is gonna be your first adjustment. Then you're gonna add 1,000 steps per day. Then you're gonna add 5 minutes of cardio to every day of the week, or you're gonna add some sort of intensity or both. And then you have to make sure with these tweaks, you're not accidentally gonna eat more, because if you are, of course we're reducing our calories, but if let's say you increase your steps by 1,000 a day and you increase your intensity on the treadmill from 3% to 4% and you add 5 minutes to each treadmill workout, you are now gonna be a little bit hungrier. Not too much, but if we're food logging, we can make sure we're not accidentally consuming too many calories. So this plan is absolutely going to crush it for you. But I never really talked about how hard this process is going to be. So make sure to watch this video next to be ready for how hard this is and make sure you don't quit. Because if you don't quit, you're gonna succeed.